Heritage House. My name is Jasmine, if you've never been by before. I really love to focus on holistic living, making food from scratch that can heal and nourish our bodies, and doing our best to take care of our family and our home from our heart. So today, if you'll join me in my kitchen, I'm going to be making some sauerkraut for the first time, some sourdough chicken and dumplings, some sourdough orange Milano cookies, which are very nostalgic for me personally, and throwing together some lunch, and it's going to be great. So come on in. I really want to focus on today the concept of just growing and how we have a lot of comfort in our society, in our day and age. A lot of the difficulties of generations past have been removed. You know, we can get anything at the press of a button pretty quickly, and that actually can cause us to sort of create problems, wanting to make things seem difficult that before, now we just have to go into our bathrooms where before we had to go to an outhouse. Just things like that were so much more difficult for generations past, and really leaning into that and realizing that a certain level of difficulty can actually be good for us if we lean into it and grow into it. In the beginning, it can feel hard. It can feel like it's going to crush us. But if we keep going and we persevere, it can often really, really make us stronger. That's been my personal journey with becoming a mom. In the beginning, it was very, very hard. I had twins, which, is a unique thing. It's a huge blessing. But in the beginning, it was very crushing. It was very hard. And somewhere along the line, I went from feeling like I was drowning and just surviving and just hanging on by a thread to being like, you know what? I actually have more in me. I can dig deeper. I have more patience for my husband. I have more patience for people around me. I actually have more fortitude within myself, really, that I believe is accessed by, leaning on God personally. I don't think it's necessarily from within myself. It's given to me by my Creator. And it changed the game for me. Realized that I could require more of myself, that I could be stronger, that I could take care of my family and myself better, even though it was harder, more difficult, required more work. It has helped me so much. It's helped me so much. And I still have bad days and good days, as we all do. There's no perfect solution, right? We're always learning and growing. But just realizing that just because something is hard does not mean it's bad, doesn't mean it's bad for us. And for me, that was personally a game changer. So just reflecting on that, let's jump in and start making some delicious food. So here I am mixing up some dough for dumplings. I'm going to be making chicken and dumplings, and I'm making the dough ahead so it can ferment and sourdough can work its magic and break down the gluten and all that good stuff. So dumplings are a lot like biscuits. So I'm cutting in butter and putting in some starter, and then I'll let those sit in the fridge for a day or two and then roll them out. So to the idea of hard not being bad, really, as long, there's a certain level of adversity and things that is not good for us, right? We still can overcome, and there's so many miraculous stories of people doing that. But we do want a certain level of difficulty and challenge in our life. We don't want to make things so simple that we have no challenge. And honestly, I've fallen into this, and our society is just riddled with this, where we just want to take everything difficult out of our lives. We want somebody to clean our house for us. We want our food delivered. We want, we don't want to work. We just want everything, every level of challenge and difficulty to be removed. And that is just plain and simple not good for us. I don't think we need to make our lives difficult. I'm all about making things have ease and simplicity and that kind of thing. But we have to find a balance. We have to know the season we're in. And it's different for each of us. It's unique to each of us. But challenge and doing things that are hard are good for us. And it requires just that inner strength. We're all capable of way more than we think. I mean, when you think about like the Navy SEALs, their training and these elite people that do these crazy boot camps and like, basic training where only, percentage of them makes it, but they all will say like they thought they were done, but they really had a lot more left. It's like when we think we're done, we're really only at 40%. And this is, again, it's all individual, but it's really important to know that pushing ourselves and challenging ourselves within reason is good. It's good for us. We need to take care of ourselves. We don't need to have some kind of crazy mindset going on, but challenge is good, and removing everything challenging is not good for us. So you just saw me there making sauerkraut. First time I've ever done that, and it really turned out good. It's very simple, um, as far as things like that go. Fermenting. It's just so funny how some of these lost arts of making food, whether it be sourdough or sauerkraut or other things, they're really not difficult, but we think they are. We think they're so hard. I'm getting this chicken to boil. I'm going to use the broth and the meat to make the chicken and dumplings, and I'll have leftover broth. This is just, I love cooking chickens and having them, whether I boil it or cook it roast it in the oven. I love to make the broth. You can either make it just by boiling it or use the bones and everything to make broth afterwards if you roast it. I just love that. I love having the meat to make whatever kind of meal you want with it. Make a soup, if you wanted to make chicken tacos or something like that. In this case, I'm making the chicken and dumplings, but it's just so versatile. I love having pretty much every week I cook a whole chicken and have the broth for whatever I'm going to use it for, and then have the meat. You can make chicken salad with it. You can make a dinner. I usually will make a meal or two out of it, and it's just so good to have the broth on hand. My husband and I love to just have broth for a meal sometimes. Some evenings we'll just do broth and maybe a protein shake or just broth. And it just helps give your immune system, your digestive system rather, a break. So now I am making up the dough for these Milano cookies, copycat Milano cookie recipe. I don't know if you grew up having them, but we always got the orange flavored ones. So that's what I'm doing. So mixing up the dough here, and again, I'm going to let it sit in the fridge to do some fermentation and break that gluten down. And it just adds a depth of flavor and makes them so much easier to digest. This particular morning, I got the chicken going early and whipped up the cookie dough, got that in the fridge, did some tidying, and started this tomato soup as I was just in between doing everything. So it was a productive morning and got a head start on dinner, which is always nice. So we had this tomato soup with grilled cheese. This tomato soup was super simple. It's just a can of a pasta marinara type sauce. Add some broth, a little bit of milk or cream, some Parmesan cheese, and some spices, and it just comes together super good. So now the chicken cooled down, and I'm removing the meat and everything from the bones. I always like, you can see my dog hovering. I always like to throw them some scraps. She enjoys that. So here's you can see the broth and all that meat. I use the majority of this broth to make the dumplings and the majority of the chicken, but I also was able to reserve some of it and make some chicken salad for a couple lunches, which was great. And I didn't show it here, but I actually also took all the skin and the bones and put it back in a pot with water and a little bit of apple cider vinegar and let that go again for a couple hours. And it really, there's just so much more broth in there once you pull everything apart. So I am sauteing some vegetables, carrots, onions, celery. Gonna get that going to just add a lot of flavor to these chicken and dumplings. So just thinking about the idea of challenge and comfort and all that. I think it's important to know that we go through different seasons. Some seasons are very hard and we just need to keep things basic. And other times we are able to do more. We're able to push and require more of ourselves. This is something I've personally been saying to myself, and my husband and I have been thinking about it a lot for this year. Some seasons you're able to do more. You're able to be like, you know what? It's time to level up. It's time to do more, and not from a place of striving, but from a place of just knowing, like for me personally, like I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Like He is our source. He is our source of strength, and we are limitless in Him. We can do more, and it's just good. It's good to know the difference. Those times when you're struggling and like newborn season, postpartum, that requires different things. Like if you're going through financial hardship, it requires different things. Sometimes there's just not a lot of margin, and that's understandable, but sometimes you get to that place where it's like, okay, to make life actually be easier, I have to raise the challenge level. I have to challenge myself, and it's going to be better for myself in the long run. A quote that changed my life about a decade ago was, if we do what's hard, our life will be easy. And if we do what's easy, our life will be hard. And it's so true, hard things in the moment make things easier later. And if we just think of our future self, um, I heard this from somebody else recently, but it's the whole concept of an apple a day, keeps the doctor away. It's like those little good choices we make every day, they compound, and that's the harvest we reap in the future. And same thing with bad decisions, little bad decisions. It's like, oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's like, well, 100 no big deals actually adds up to a big deal. So anyway, peppering this all with grace and all that, but we're so much more capable than we think. And when we realize that we were created by the Creator, we are just so empowered, and it's amazing. Here's the chicken and dumplings. I added just a little bit of carrot and peas just to give it some color, and they were a hit. And here's the Milano cookies. Cooked them. Each piece is a side. Added the melted dark chocolate with a little bit of orange zest mixed in. And these turned out so good. They were spot on the flavor I remember growing up without all the other additives. So they were so good. Well, thanks for being with me this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.
with dumplings.